Hi, this is Dr. Bob with Carolina Bayou Pet Care. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that we actually don't get involved in, but we do occasionally get questions, and certainly we're thinking ahead about this sort of situation. But it's dog boarding, keeping your dog at a boarding facility, for example. So Shelly's with us today. She's going to be directing some of the questions, and hopefully this will give you some things to think about next time you need to think about boarding your dog.
Dr. Bob, what are the different dog boarding options?
In no particular order, but I will go ahead and tell you what I actually would prefer as far as boarding. And I guess this isn't boarding in the truest sense of the word, but if you need to leave town, you need to leave, you're going to go on vacation, or you have to unexpectedly go to a funeral or something of that nature where you have to leave town and you have to leave your pet or pets with a think about leaving it with a boarding facility. I'm always going to encourage you to at least see if you can find somebody who can house sit for your pets. Certainly your dogs and cats are always going to be much, much more at ease if they're going to be in their own environment, even if it is a different person who's going to be taking care of them in your absence. Um, the alternative to that would be actually staying at somebody else's house. So somebody that they would know, somebody where they're going to be safe, where they're going to be well taken care of. So I'm always going to consider more of a home environment is always going to be preferred over a boarding facility, given that chance, or if you have an opportunity to be able to find somebody who's willing or able to do that for you.
What should I consider when boarding my dog?
Yeah, lots of different things. So let's think in terms of if you are actually going to need to take your dog to a boarding facility in your absence. First thing I'm going to want to find out is what vaccines is your pet going to require. The vaccines that we definitely going to recommend for any dog that's going to be boarding: rabies, again, required by law. Distemper parvo will be required. Bordetella for kennel cough will be required. The other one I'm going to definitely recommend it would be the canine flu vaccine. That's actually a two-shot series initially, and then an annual booster after that. A lot of veterinary facility or boarding facilities don't require it. Some do. I think it's better to say one of those facilities where they do, because unfortunately, canine flu can be a serious threat to your dog, and it is a respiratory disease that can be easily spread. So if you're not familiar with the canine flu, we'll be happy to talk to you more about that. But there is a vaccine for two different versions of the canine flu. So that's the first thing I'm going to want to find out. It says what is going to be required of you and your pet before you even come to the boarding facility. The other things you're going to be looking for is how much space is your dog going to have once it's in the boarding facility? What's going to be the contact with other dogs? Is there playtime? Is there social time? Is there somebody there after hours in the event something happens? If there's a thunderstorm that comes up, and if you're concerned your dog might have a fear of thunderstorms, how is that going to be managed in your absence? So there's lots of things you want to start thinking about, since you're going to be putting your pet in a unique and sometimes fearful situation, because again, they're out of their comfort zone. So again, I'm going to circle back around. That's why I'm going to recommend, if you can get somebody to come into your home to stay with your pets while you're away, that's always going to be the best and the primary consideration. And if option number two would be, if you have somebody who's willing to take your pets into their home, that would be my second choice.
What questions should I ask at the dog boarding facility or kennel?
So first, again, what vaccines are going to be required? Find out about play period. Find out about feeding schedule. Do you need to bring your own food? Or the biggest question is going to be, what about medication? If your dog is a diabetic, for example, do they have somebody on premises who's going to be able to administer an insulin injection to your pet twice a day? What about other medications? If you have a difficulty trying to give medication to your dog in the first place, and they're going to be asked to give medication to a dog they don't know well, if your dog's fearful, or if it's doesn't do well with strangers, is that going to put them in jeopardy trying to administer medication to your dog? So lots of things you need to start thinking about when it comes to boarding.
What do I need to know about boarding at a pet hotel or resort?
A couple of things is, again, just cleanliness. I would always be reluctant to go someplace if I'm not actually able to go inside to see the facility and see see the hygiene of the facility, how clean it is. I do understand a lot of places don't want strangers coming into a facility with a lot of other dogs, but it would certainly be beneficial if there is a sort of a kind of peek behind the curtain where you can at least see how well is the facility being cleaned and taken care of. And again, the other questions we've already talked about, the sort of situation where how much activity is there going to be outside, how much interaction is going to be with other dogs. When the dogs are together, is there somebody who's going to be continually monitoring them? Because unfortunately, dogs sometimes don't like one another and sometimes they can get into fights. How do they address that? If there is an emergency, how is that going to be addressed? So yeah, so lots of things to consider when you're going to be boarding your dog.
What do dog boarding facilities need to know about my dog?
Mostly medication. What medications is your dog currently on that need to be continued in your absence? But also, how well do they do with strangers? Is your dog a very timid dog, or is there a risk of it if it's very unsocial and very driven or sort of connected to you and it doesn't do well with strangers? How is that going to be an issue as far as handling it?
And what should I bring and how should I prepare when boarding my dog?
Yeah, a lot of questions of if what to bring would be actually should be addressed by the facility before you even take your dog. They may say yes, bring your dog beds, or nope, don't bring a dog bed, or yes, bring your food, nope, we're going to take care of that. Yeah, bring your medications, sort of the basic things. But every facility has their own different ways of doing things. So you definitely want to have those conversations before you head out of town, and so you can be prepared for for what to expect when you get there. So hopefully that'll give you things to think about. It's not just a simple matter of just dropping your dog off and giving a little belly rub before you go, and then see you in a few days. No, it's a lot of things to consider, because again, this is like your child. You want to make sure that they're going to be safe. They're going to be taken care of, and you want to make sure that they're going to be in a clean environment. So hopefully that'll help, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks.